That was my first business, the world's first, probably only, garbage bag door-to-door subscription company. As I started to get older and got into high school in particular, I realized that high school wasn't my jam, that I wanted to learn as much as I could about business. I started taking classes at night at the University of Pittsburgh when I was 16.
Ever wondered how a billionaire spends his fortunes? This guy knows how to live large. Let's peek into the life of Mark Cuban, from owning private jets to a collection of super expensive things that are truly amazing. Mark Cuban, a famous American businessman and owner of the Dallas Mavericks, has a net worth of over $5 billion. With such wealth, he owns a few possessions that are not available to the average person. Mark Cuban spent a massive $40 million on a Gulfstream G550 post-Broadcast.com's success in 1999. Can you imagine the kind of luxury and convenience that a jet must offer? This wasn't just any purchase, it was the biggest e-commerce buy ever, landing him a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records. Sure, the jet cost a pretty penny, but for Cuban, it was all about the value of time. He says it lets him spend more precious moments with his family by saving him hours of travel time. The Gulfstream G550 isn't the only fancy jet in Mark Cuban's collection. He also owns a Boeing 757-200. And do you know why he bought it? For his NBA team, the Dallas Mavericks, in which he holds a 27% stake. He shelled out a cool $36 million for this jet, showing just how committed he is to the team's success and comfort. This isn't your average jet either. It's decked out with special features to accommodate pro athletes over 7 feet tall, a weight room, and even a medical treatment room. Cuban is dedicated to giving his team the best of the best. So what does he own other than expensive airplanes? He owns a luxurious mansion in the posh neighborhood of Preston Hollow in Dallas. This grand property spans 7 acres, with the main house itself spreading over 23,000 square feet. Despite its grand look, it has a warm and welcoming vibe. It's equipped with a modest home office, a swimming pool, and sports courts for basketball and tennis. There's even a guest house. Cuban loves to spend time with his family, and his mansion is the perfect place for it. After all, knowing his huge spending, this isn't just any ticket though, it's an unlimited first-class ticket that allows him to fly anywhere in the world, anytime he wants. Back in 1981, American Airlines introduced this lifetime unlimited A Air Pass. It was a ticket to fly anywhere as often as you wanted, but it came with a steep price, and he also bought this unlimited first-class ticket and enjoyed his rest of the flights. The exciting thing is that the passes cost $250,000 when they were first introduced. Buyers could pay an additional $150K to add a companion pass. After Mark Cuban sold his first business, Micro Solutions, for a cool $6 million, he was out having dinner with his buddies. They were all curious to know what he planned to do with his newfound wealth, and Cuban said that he wanted a lifetime pass on American Airlines. He wanted the freedom to jet off anywhere, anytime. He was so serious about it that he even picked up the phone right there in the restaurant and called American Airlines to ask if they sold such passes. Cuban figured that his predicted cost per mile would be 12 cents, which seemed like a good deal for him. So he bought the pass. He doesn't remember exactly how much he paid, but he thought it was a smart investment at the time. Ever dream of traveling the world in first class for a single fixed price? And yes, they're still good to use. Cuban himself has said that getting his hands on one of these passes was one of the most fun, best business decisions he's ever made. He used his A Air Pass to party hop like there was no tomorrow. He's lost count of the number of trips he's taken, but it's safe to say he's been a whole lot. So while the lifetime airline ticket might seem stupidly expensive to some, to Mark Cuban it was a priceless purchase. It gave him the freedom to travel the world whenever he wanted, and it was a symbol of his success. It was more than just a ticket, it was a passport to a lifetime of adventure and excitement, and for Cuban that was worth every pretty penny. One of his purchases that stands out is the domain name Democracy.com. This website was originally set up by a group that wanted to bridge the gap between everyday folks and politicians and advocacy groups. But as luck would have it, they ran out of money and had to put the domain name up for sale. He didn't want it falling into the hands of someone who might use it to push a political agenda. You know, when Mark Cuban bought Democracy.com, it wasn't just about a cool domain name. No, it was much more than that. He wanted to make sure that the domain wouldn't be used to spread fake news or be twisted for some political advantage. He was all about preserving the true essence of the word democracy. The exact amount Cuban paid for Democracy.com is not known. However, for Cuban, it was not about the money. It was about making a stand for what he believes in. Despite owning Democracy.com, Cuban has stated that he has no plans for the site. It currently redirects users to his site. This might seem like a waste to some, considering the potential of such a powerful domain name. But for Cuban, it's not about potential profit or personal gain. It's about principle. One of Mark Cuban's most notable purchases is an entire town. That's correct. Cuban is the owner of a deserted town in Texas known as Mustang. It is a small town about 60 miles from Dallas. When Cuban bought it, it was practically a ghost town. This place is spread over 26.8 acres and has been up for sale for around 4 years. The only buildings left standing were an old strip club and a deserted mobile home park. The reason why Cuban purchased this town is truly touching. He did it to help a buddy of his, Marty Price. Marty was the main owner of the town, but he fell sick and wanted to sell it. He was a huge basketball fan and even had floor seats for the Mavericks games. When he asked Cuban to buy the town, Cuban did not hesitate. He bought the town to lift the burden off Marty's family, so they wouldn't have to worry about owning a whole town after Marty's passing. No one really knows how much Cuban shelled out for Mustang, but the town was originally listed for a cool $4 million. Given its size and location, it's safe to say that it wasn't exactly a bargain to buy. But for Cuban, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't just a real estate deal for him. It was a grand gesture of friendship and a shining example of the kind of guy he is. Right now, Cuban doesn't have any concrete plans for Mustang. But the cool thing is, the town has its very own exit off Interstate 45. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Dallas, only an hour's drive, which means Cuban has the liberty to let his imagination run wild and transform the town however he wants. His stupidly expensive collection, from private jets to sports teams, leaves us stunned. So, are Cuban's super expensive purchases all worth it? Comment your thoughts on this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.